Normally, for the last few years, I've participated in this fun little thing called devtober, which is kind of like Inktober, but for game devs, where I work on a game. This year, I haven't done it, kind of for a couple of reasons. Two biggest ones being I'm a little bit more busy, but also I don't really have that much else to post about in terms of the game, and I'm kind of just wrapping up a lot of stuff. So I figured for this year, what I want to do instead is focus on just small little side tangents on fun details of just random whatever things I've been working on with the game. I don't know if I have a super concrete exact release date for when the game comes out, other than just hopefully soon. But I do plan on making it free, and there will be a link to it on whatever bio page you're looking at on whatever socials this is posted to, or the description, or wherever they link it. It's going to be free either way. Anyways, starting with the main character, Trix, whose original design I honestly still enjoy. It was kind of just me figuring out what the heck I'm doing in terms of honestly a lot of things like making characters for a game, specifically in pixel art. I really like how they kind of had this pose where they're facing slightly towards the screen instead of just directly horizontally, and that's something I kept with the much later iterations of the design, but I kind of wanted to give them a little bit more of a personality beyond just like which character. Specifically, too, in some of the later designs, I kind of wanted them to have a sort of kid like last minute Halloween costume idea. And I bounced around between a couple of different things. I wanted to keep the witch part of them in, but I added other parts to their design. I think the main one that stuck, as you can clearly see, is the face paint. I know I had some versions where I had like headpieces and like a wind up key on them, which I think are kind of cool ideas, but a lot of my opposition towards some of those smaller details was honestly that I was just kind of forgetting to draw them. Although I did kind of go back on that a little bit. I think one of the funniest themes with them was having their hair grow out, and I had this one idea to make it really big. I kind of didn't stick with that, but I liked how they were leaning a bit into almost like a Frankenstein esque design. And for their current and for real this time, actually final design, I came up with these sort of like clock, Frankenstein bolt, headphone looking thingamajigs. I don't really know what exactly the phrase is, like a headband, I guess, but I think they're really cool. They do kind of lean a bit into some like smaller details, but I think the difference between the key and the horns and stuff is that I feel like they add actually a lot more to the character's silhouette as opposed to them just being kind of vaguer shapes. Oh, and speaking of the silhouette, I think my two favorite things with their design are how I handled their arms, or they're sort of like almost disconnected, but not quite. It gives them this sort of very curved line feel, which is kind of tricky to accomplish with pixel art since it's very blocky and low res. But I really like it because it kind of makes their design read to have like a lot more of a cartoonish silhouette. And the same can be said with their clock on the back of their hat, which I really like, especially because of honestly just one frame in the game. But at the peak of their jump, there's this giant smear that the clock has. But it's really good because it just indicates to the player when you actually reach your maximum jump height. So you only need to jump like once or twice to get a good feel of your movement in the game. And I'm really proud of that. Honestly, there were a lot of parts of their design that I was kind of self conscious about for a lot of different reasons, but I'm pretty happy with them overall. I think also like their colors being all over the place is kind of it's really weird because I don't think now it's how I would go about designing a character, but I really like it in this design cuz it's just it's a little bit like strange, but again, that's I guess kind of the point, which is where I feel like it's cool. It's almost like having a rule in place, but like breaking it in a way where it's still interesting instead of being incoherent. I think on the next video, though, I'll probably talk about Treaty's design, the other main character who is in the little candy basket, because honestly, while they don't have nearly as many changes as Trix has had, they have some pretty goofy ones.